Hello everyone, greetings from India. This is Nirbhay Chauhan from Eklavya Self-Learning Tutorials. Well, today in this fourth video for the series of BIM Workbench for FreeCAD, in this session we will be discussing about as it is clear from the thumbnail also, about the custom doors and windows creation in FreeCAD. So we'll see how we can give them some opening. So I'll just show you an example also here, which I'll be sharing with you along with this video. So this file I will share with you, and we also try to create a custom door or window and see how things work, how this panels are created, lowers, how the window glazing is created basically, and this glass panel, how you can give this opening, I mean to say this angle of the door. If you see in the top view, let me make it orthographic, this angle opening. Okay, so these type of things, how you can give these panels, internal panel, external panels, so solid panels, so all these type of things we'll discuss how to create a custom door for us, or maybe a window. Both are the same things, not much difference. Okay, so let's get started. So let's create a new file. We'll start with a new file basically. Okay, now let us create a sample wall basically. So these are the properties of the wall: 200 mm width, height is okay. So these things are fine. Let us create a wall of around 4 meters. So yeah, so you have a wall here, fine. Now all of you guys are familiar with the wall creation via these windows. Sorry, the window or door creation via these tabs. Right now our focus is to create a sketch based profile. So I was about to show you the default nature. So what we do, we simply click on the wall, we click on the store, and then we assign like this. And this is how your door or window is placed. But these are some pre-built profiles. You don't have much freedom in it. You can also edit them, because if you see, expand the wall window and you see the window, this is a sketch. Okay, this is how we'll see today how to create a sketch for a window or door, how to assign the components of that particular window or door. Okay, this is something is our scope for this tutorial. So what we do basically, we have created this wall, we have assigned the working plane also for this. Now we need to create a sketch for our door. So what we do is click again on the surface. So now here on the tab you have this. In the BIM workbench, you're already given this create new sketch for the working plane. Earlier you had go to the sketcher workbench, and from there you have to create a new sketch. If you go to sketcher workbench, you have to create a new sketch here. But now the beauty of the BIM workbench is all the necessary components are given here only. Fine. So we have clicked on the surface, go to sketch. Yeah. So by default, you get this local coordinate with respect to the wall profile. So this dot that you're seeing is a region. This is a local origin with respect to this wall. Okay. You don't have to worry about this. So now we'll be creating a sketch profile for our door. I'll show you how to actually manipulate the things, how to understand the concepts. So right now let's create a reference first. So here you have this component. If you're not familiar about the Sketcher workbench, in the above I tab you can see uh, one card or one video reference for the Sketcher workbench which I have created earlier. If you have some doubts or you're not familiar with the Sketcher workbench, do refer that video first before proceeding with this, because it will be very helpful to you to understand the concept of Sketcher workbench. Okay, so do refer that video. So we'll create a reference geometry now. We'll create the base of the wall. So now you can see we have this reference geometry. Now we'll start by creating the door profile. So what we will do is, let's create the outer frame. So we'll start by like this. Okay, you can see this sketch is created now. Now second thing is, this is outer frame. Now we'll create the internal frame for the door basically. So what we will do is, again we will proceed like this. I'm just creating randomly the file, then I will assign the constraints to it. That also I will show you. Right now you can see degrees of freedom are quite huge. You can see here 6 degrees of freedom. So no constraint, no dimensions are defined. Apart from this, what you can do is we can assign some opening, or you can say some glass panel to it. We will see how we can do that. Uh, let's create one here, and let's create in the shape of ellipse. So this is a ellipse that we have here. Let's make it little bit small, and let's place our ellipse here. Okay, let's create a circle actually. This will not much. Let's create a circle by center. So yeah, we'll change its dimension later on. Now what do you have? We have an outer component which we will define as a solid panel or a frame. Then you have this internal, this is the main door which we will use to slide. And these are our, you can say we'll use as lowers, or we'll use them as a glass panel. So now we'll try to define some constraints. Let us define this constraint first, the distance from the end of the wall. It's up to you. You can use without defining any constraint or with the use of constraint. So let it be around 300 mm. Okay, try to keep this everything clean. You can give the naming also here if you want. It's optional up to you. Then you can later on make it parametric. Now what we can do is we can define the width, this gap basically. Let it be 100 mm. Similarly this one, 100 mm. Now for top also let's give 100 mm only. Fine. So this thing is quite uh, in a stable position now. Now what you can see, overall height and overall length, you can see. You can just try to drag and see things which things are not working, or which exactly things you need to figure out. Or by practice or experience you will come to know what things exactly you need to constrain. Now we'll do the width for this. You can say that around, sorry. You can say that around 1200 mm. Similarly, let us give it the height. So height we can give around 1800. So you can see the outer frame, inner frame geometry for door is quite stable. It is stable now. Another thing is that we need to go for is this overall things. So what we can do is let's define a width for this glass that we'll be using. 250 is okay. Similarly, the height for this 550 is also okay. Now you can see its all dimensions are defined, but in the space it's not constrained. So we'll try to place somewhat here and give it some dimension or reference to this geometry. Let us say it around 100 only. Similarly, now what we left it from top. Top can be like 200. So now you can see this is stable. Now we left your circle, the radius or dia for the circle and its position. So what we can do is let us define its position with reference to this point. Click on this point and click on this point and give it dimension, the horizontal dimension basically. Let it be 300. So this is constraint now. Now the vertical movement is left. We can give again from this point the vertical distance. Let it be 250. Now we're left with the overall dimension or radius or diameter for the circle. So click on this. Here you have a component for the dia. Let it be around 200. Now you can see your geometry has turned to green. This signifies, or this um, shows that your overall geometry is now fully constrained. You can see the message here. Okay, no degree of freedom is left. Everything is in good shape and in good control. Now you can close this sketch. So you can see here some geometry. Now we need to convert this solid geometry into door, and also need to have a type of hole or subsection in the wall. So what we'll do is now simply click on this sketch and go to here this door component or window component. Door and window both are same thing. Only thing is your reference or name of the IFC property that you're giving. Okay. Now we'll assign the door. So by default it's created by window. You can give this name as door 1 or any name you want, and the IFC role, because when you're exporting this overall geometry to IFC, so simply search for door. Yeah, now it's okay. Now we have this door created. What we can see is it's not subtracting, it's overlapping with your wall. So click on your door, then click on your wall and go to this tab here. You have the component of removal. Also you can get this thing from your uh, this is a component of basically arc, so that's why it's kept in the modify, and here also you have this remove component. Okay, so now your wall is removed. This is basically a bug, you can say. Let us move this sketch a little bit down. So what's happening basically here, the reference that we've taken for the wall, that is actually creating a problem for us. That's why our wall, sorry, not the wall, uh, this reference that you see, this is something that has troubled us. So no problem, what we can do is we can again take this reference, click here, and we can constrain this to this with vertical dimension as 0 and the horizontal dimension also as 0. Okay, everything constrained now. Click close. Now you can see a hole, a beautiful hole here, but you can see only one frame for the door. We're not getting the hinge, we're not getting the opening of the glass panel. So how you can get that? Very simple. Now you have this door component. Simply double click on it. So now you have this whole new window here. Okay, so you can see the wires. These wires are the actually the closed loops within your sketch which we just modeled. So just we can see wire 1, 2, 3, 4, total 4 wires from 0 to 3. So by default we have this component. Okay, so you can remove this, you can create your own, you can also modify this. Let's modify this only. So we'll edit this. By default it has so many wires, so we don't need these wires. We need only the outermost wire and the subtracting the inner wire, which is this one. Then only we will get the outer frame for the door. So the outer frame, outer rectangle, and the inner rectangle, that will subtract and give you an outer frame. This is how things work. If you are getting only like single wireframe, the outer one, it will give you overall solid panel. That we will use in terms of your glass glazing or in terms of your door when we need the overall solid. So what we'll do here is we need wire 0 and wire 1, because simultaneously show you also here, you can simply check. Now the type we need is frame. Thickness we can take as 100 mm. The offset from the wall or sketch we can take around 50 mm, like that. Hinge we don't need because this is something stable. No opening mode, so we'll say it create update component. You can close it from here now. So we'll see you created one component, and you can see the offset also of 50 mm and the overall 100 mm thick. Fine. So this is your outer frame. Got it? Part 1. Now part 2 is how to create the door which will be sliding. So double click again. You can do all those operations at once also, but just for reference we can go one by one. Now we'll click on the add component. You can name it as door, or you can say the door body. The type will be solid panel. Okay. Wires. Now the wires will be, if you remember the last part we done, the wire one. This whole wire will be for the door, but we cannot have it overall solid. if there were no internal sketches for the glazing. But right now we have the internal sketches which we need for glazing. So we'll select those wires also, wire 2 and wire 3. So this overall subtraction will give you the solid panel for your door which we need actually. Fine. Thickness we can give of 100 is fine. Offset will be again 50 because we want attached to our frame. Now we'll select the hinge we want it to be moved. It's up to you, okay? So we can select hinge we need at this edge. Click on this and then click here, get selected edge. You can say here edge 8 is there, its name is there. Now the opening mode. You have certain opening norms here. We can say it around arc 45 and we want it to be inwards. So we can say arc 45 inwards. Fine, I can say create update component. Let's close it. Now you'll see you have this openings of the glazing which we'll be doing further and your overall door. But it's not rotated by the given angle. So what happens basically, you click on the door and you go down to your window properties. Here you have component of opening which is set to 0. When it's 0, it won't be having a rotation. I just say open the subcomponent that have a hinge defined. If you're giving the value and hinge is not defined, it won't work. So right now we have the hinge defined at the given edge and you can give the opening of around, you can say 45-degree angle. See, so inwards you can see the opening is or the angle is given now. You can see a top view. Fine. Now the part 3 will go. What part 3 is will go for the glazing. We also try to show you what louvers are actually. So fine up to this. Now we'll go for our glazing part. So double click on the door component again. We'll click on the add. Now we'll give it a name as you can say mirror. Type we need as glass panel. Wires will be wire 3. Thickness you can give a 20 mm. Offset 50 mm, the same as previous, and again the hinge will be given same as your door body. Select the edge and opening mode will be same parameter of R45 inverted and click on create update component and click close. So you can see you have your glass panel here. You can see the components from reverse also. Now last part left is for the louvres component, the sticks thing. So how we can do that is basically again click on a door component. Let's add the component here and give the name as sticks. Type will be lorry. Wires will be wire 2. You can just confirm here also. Thickness we can give around 50 mm. Offset of 50 mm, just same as before. The hinge edge will be this one because we wanted to move along with the door. Opening again same parameter and click on create and click close. So now you can see a solid panel here basically, but you can't see your sticks. So what do you do basically? Click on the door component. Here in the parameters, you go down and see the window component. Here you have lower spacing and lower width. Let's give it around 100 mm, width of 50 mm. This is how you create your components for the lower. You can see this. Let's create spacing of also 50. Yeah, this is how you get your low-res thing. So now glazing has switched off. Not a worry. Click on the door component again. It just sometimes needs to refresh it. Click on your mirror. Edit this thing. Update again. Click close. Okay, this is fine. So this was the part how you basically create your overall geometry for the door. So I think this is quite fine up to this. Then you can keep on defining the colors for your component. Like suppose for the wall, we can define the color here. Go to shape in the view property, go to shape color, give the color of like some dark brownish. Fine. And then you can still define the color for your overall door also. I'll show you. Go to view property, shape color. The only thing is you need to refresh sometimes. See. because what happens, your glass glazing sometimes doesn't show the same thing or the previous color. That's why we need to just go to again the component for your mirror, edit it, update the component, click close. So that's fine. Let me just show you with some different view settings of like no shading. So this was the part where we discuss how you can create different types of you can say basically a door component, a custom door component with your opening, your slanted angle, your glass panel, your low raise, okay, your door frame. And I'll share this example file with you, and I'll also share the previous switch file I have made, this one, where I have made some several different door components. So this is also for your reference. Okay, so this is also part of sketch only. You create your sketches, define the constraints, and assign different components to your sketch in the terms of window or door, and then you can follow up. So this was all for this session, guys. Do let me know with your comments how you like it or what improvements we can make further. And if you like the video, do subscribe. Okay, so see you in the next one. Thank you so much, guys. Goodbye. Take care. Thank you.